Okay, so we're trying this again, and I still don't have as many people in the room as I hoped, but maybe that's the feedback that Cinder needs, is that everything's fine, right? So, I know Tobias is a user, which it's okay to be.
Is it about the price?
It is?
Yes.
Yes.
You're representing
Something
the
bad in
user.
general. Have a safe place to use.
Is there anybody else here who is a consumer of Cinder? Yes. Yes. Okay. So this is your opportunity to say thank you, or I'm really unhappy, or fix this. What we've been trying to do, so the background on this is I got the user survey feedback back before Berlin. I went through it and decoded it, and 2/3 of the answers were we want multi-attach. And we had multi-attach, but I'm guessing they were talking about set, which we fixed that in the Stein release. There were comments about backup, which we've done a lot of work around backup in the last couple of releases, at least. Gorgo's pushed up like multi-threading, making it run faster, more reliably, that kind of stuff. And then there were other comments about wanting like garbage support, which you can do in SEP now with delayed volume deletion, not necessarily for other backends. But then there were a whole bunch of other things that it's like, well, we don't really know what this means, and we were hoping to get people to actually come talk about their thoughts and concerns. Because we're really, you know, so for those of you that don't come to the project update, you know, a quick preview is, what's the state of Cinder? Well, we're still pretty healthy, but we're doing more bug fixing and user experience improvements than adding new features. So we'd like to know what are the features that are missing, if we have stuff that's missing, or what stinks about our user experience, that kind of stuff. Extending move from volume does not seem to work in Rocky. Put that up there. Random note. Okay, so that sounds like some. Any other comments, concerns, feedback? Yes.
So I'm using Kubernetes top of that and the top driver for Cinder.
Okay.
So when you play the Kubernetes volume, it traces in the volume. And until very recently, there was an issue where you can attach one to this volume on one VM. And that was really painful for containers because you want very high density. So that's more like an advanced centering issue. I want to know what they are.
So,
I know, I have a few customers that actually run into that as well, which are extremely stupid use cases, by the way. In those cases.
I didn't hear what the actual problem was.
yeah, so.
Would you say that you can't attach more than?
26 volume per VM.
Oh, that could be a kernel issue.
It's the SDA.
Yeah.
easy.
Oh, I have heard that complaint before.
Is that because of VirtIO or is that because of libvirt? Or?
It might depend on your hypervisor or whatever.
I don't think it's a Cinder issue.
It's not a Cinder issue. Yeah.
That was very painful for people and hasn't fixed the master, but hasn't been backported because it's a feature.
Master of. Oh, well. I heard about that it was fixed as well. I think I saw it in one of the release notes.
Yeah.
So if I fail to use VirtIO, it's SCSI or something.
I'm just saying, like, in some use cases, like, maybe we're not considered before, like the container protocol. Now, use cases for we see some things that we use before. Traditional VM, but that's one of the core things.
Okay.
Do you happen to have any URLs for reviews or bugs in Launchpad?
There were a couple of like patch stats when
I don't know, I'm reading the exact thing that I was just saying, where VirtIO block currently has a per guest limitation of 32 devices. But then if you use a different one, VirtIO SCSI or something, or not SCSI, SCSI, it doesn't, the reason it exists is to get around these limits. So.
Okay. Why do they want so many volumes for what, buying mounting individual volumes for Kubernetes or?
Kubernetes world, you make very small containers and you make of them. Right?
Yeah.
Each of them has
Big.
volume.
Okay.
We could RAID 0 them together.
What is this supposed to do? Good.
Sort of play low cinder and it works great otherwise.
So I use SolidFire now,
Okay.
and I find it very confusing that the control node gets embedded, like the host name gets used, and I'm wondering what other people do about that.
What do you mean?
Like if I actually have to decommission a control node and move it to another control node, the host name has to be changed in the database.
Oh, I probably have to configure backend name option. It's config.
Yeah, so you can configure the host name on each host, but to the same host name. Is that what people do?
Yes.
And there's no conflict? Okay. I think I was just looking for confirmation that was safe.
It's a bit tricky, but the solution works pretty good for the years.
It's basically just used for the scheduler to redirect the commands into the right driver for provisioning request.
Okay.
And so if that driver's configured on that other host to talk to the same backend with
As long as they're both fully capable, it doesn't matter.
it's not going to matter.
Okay, good.
Oh, for Cinder, backend host name is only some label to send messages to this host. So you can have Cinder config whatever you want as a host name for Cinder volume backend host name.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
In that case, does Cinder volume still actually delete all ongoing operation if you restart the service, like on both nodes?
Yes, it does.
So that's still like something you should be aware of.
I have to migrate them to the new host name. One last time. Whose problem is it that you can't split a boot volume and clone it and make another virtual machine from it? Is that a Cinder problem or is that a Nova problem?
What do you mean?
Split a volume?
If you want to take a snapshot of a boot volume and restore or do anything, like start a virtual machine from a volume. Like it's kind of attached, the root volume is special.
Why, you should be able to snapshot the root volume and boot it up as a new virtual machine. I think I've done that.
Reconnect to the existing machine.
Oh, reconnect it to the existing machine?
As a volume migrate?
Like you want to keep the same IP address and all that stuff, so you just want to pop it back in.
There was some work in
Okay.
Nova in the last cycle that I think is being continued here of being able to rebuild an instance without having to delete and actually rebuild.
And also specify an image. Yeah, specify an image.
Yeah, so you still have the same virtual machine, but because you can't right now. You can't shut down a virtual machine, detach its boot volume, and reattach a new one.
So whose problem is that?
It's
Nova does all the
Cinder's.
coordination of all that, so
You compare it to the stack
They're working on making it so that you can re-image an attached volume so that on an instance so that you don't have to actually release everything else, but refresh that instance. Is that not the use case you're looking for?
I'm not sure. I guess it could be terminology. I was thinking if you want to like increase the size of the root disk, can you do that?
You can extend an attached volume.
No, if it would
Like,
work
can you
on
do that
this-
as a,
I don't think a boot volume because for that to be picked up, I think the VM needs to be recreated.
That would be resize. It's like that word,
Okay. Yeah, that's-
Like it seems like the second and later volumes are all generically handled, and then the root volume is like super
Yeah.
special.
Boot volumes are always a pain.
but so in that case you would need to snapshot it, extend it, and then take your VM down and boot from the snapshot instead.
Well, you can't take your VM down because it's the boot volume, so you have to blow away your VM, create a new one, and use that new volume.
Right. Yes, sorry.
And he doesn't want to lose like MAC addresses and everything like that.
Whatever is set, right? Like
But it's a cloud. Just blow away, create a new one.
It's,
people have bought into
they're
that.
cattle, not pets.
I mean, so far I'm working around that by having a fixed root volume, which is like 40 gig, and then a variable second volume.
And that's what some very vocal Nova people have really pushed back in the past about doing anything with this, is that the system volume, the recommendation is the system volume should be separate from any data that you have, so. Yeah.
I'll put it up there.
It's a strange exception. I'm sure there's lots of history behind it.
That sounds like the right thing, right? Volume back server reload.
Yeah, that word rebuild is kind of scary, but I guess it depends what it means.
It does depend on what it means. Like Nova has these bizarre terms for things that, like, if you want to do a live migrate, you actually have to do a resize. It's crazy.
Okay.
So rebuild probably doesn't mean I'm not going to try to explain it. I don't know myself.
So if you're curious, go to that review, because it's actually still a review that's out there, and you could leave comments on there if there's something in that doesn't match with what you need to.
Well, it's merged.
Oh, it is merged.
But you can still add comments.
Okay.
And like, we need to change something. It was approved, this was the best approval for the team of the shot.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I was just looking through our list on the public cloud working group, and there are one and go around most of that one development for storage backend that is the complete description. Probably some time ago I figured that it's not reported by myself, so I'm not really sure about the use case, but if you have like multiple different storages and migrate between, is that like working out of the box there?
Yeah. The
Even for VMs, like with volumes attached, or like ephemeral on backend.
Some backends can support it, a migration, but most of them don't. So if you detach it, you can migrate it or retype it if you want.
But if you're running like ephemeral on set, for example, via Cinder,
I'm not sure.
what was that question? That last part? I mean, if you run ephemeral on the, I guess you're using Cinder for like the backend.
Not for ephemeral.
Okay.
You can use the same storage that you manage through Cinder to back your ephemeral storage, but it's not Cinder doing anything.
Okay, so it's not the model at all.
It's typically a different pool.
Yeah. It is. So,
You mentioned ephemeral. You remind me, this is a thanks one. I was one of the people that was affected by if you have local ephemeral storage, but use the flavor size of 0, and people pick different sizes, then you would end up with none of the hypervisors able to schedule machines because they think they're all fully occupied, even though they're not. So I think that's been slowly getting better, and as soon as we upgrade to Stein or something, it might be gone.
Yeah, I think that was addressed finally completely in Stein. Remember that? I That's okay. But yeah, that was a long one, and
Yeah,
as far as I know now,
complicated one, right?
everything is good. So Steiner later, at least, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. And are you aware of any issues with 4K block size devices? So I had when I tried using SolidFire with 4K block sizes, I ended up with weird scenarios where when you allocate the disk and then you move the machine, it would end up like off by a factor of 8, like the sizes. And I don't remember all the details, so I can't tell you. I ended up making a small patch to the SolidFire driver to allow it to use 4K physical 512 logical. It was just like a one-line patch, and that gave me what I wanted, which is the awareness to the guest that it is actually a 4K, but compatibility and no more wrongly sized
It's
volumes.
very specific to only SolidFire driver, I guess.
Sorry?
It's specific to only SolidFire driver, so.
Well, anybody who has 4K would be potentially at risk, but I would have to find the details to report what the problem
Sounds
is.
like that's a hypervisor issue.
It could be. I don't know. I was just wondering if you were aware. Probably no one does that. Everybody uses 512 still, even if they have 4K underneath.
Probably.
I mean, it's the same thing with physical machines, right? If you use a 4K, actual 4K disk, you probably break some OSs still.
Okay.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
So when you see my patch for that to SolidFire, please say yes.
So
Okay.
you've patched that locally, you haven't?
That's right.
Okay.
So it used to say if emulate 512 is on, then use 512, 512.
Yeah.
Otherwise, use 4K, 4K. And I just said else 4K, 512.
Well, if you're able to push that up, I'm sure other SolidFire users would be glad to see that.
Yeah. Cool.
Can't think of any more. Sorry. Cinder actually works pretty well.
Yeah, it does. Shouldn't be too sorry about that.
I should have brought beer and then we could all have a beer for 20 minutes instead. I'll have the session one more time if nobody complains. Free beer! So, and nothing from the users.
No, that's the only thing I have like in there that regards Cinder. I'm not sure about the use cases. It was so badly like explained.
Okay.
But I mean, we are about to change backend from something bad to Ceph in one of our data centers, which I guess is down to has probably not for Cinder then. I guess that's pretty easy. I don't know if it will become. I guess it will become super easy to just migrate them if you have like disconnected them from the VM. Then you can connect them again. It doesn't matter where the ephemeral storage is placed. As in the other node if you need to.
Just retype.
Sorry.
Just retype the volume.
Retype the code.
Yes. That's how you migrate from one backend type to another.
Okay.
Because you can only migrate between the same kind of backend. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, you can do, Cinder can do assisted different backend migration, it just means mounting them between the web copy.
Right.
From Cinder's perspective and stuff. But that sounds like that's what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
Then it will be from NFS to Ceph.
Can you retype forward as well?
There's actually migrate volume too, which it says retype will, if it recognizes that it's not the same backend or the same pool, it will do a migration.
Yeah, so migration is the way to go there.
Yeah. Because in other words, you have to put the migrate option on retype.
Yes.
Or it says, no, you can't do that.
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
So does that work if you have a VM volume?
We'll leave online migrate works.
Live migration is very dependent on backend and hypervisor.
Like even if the VM is shut down?
If the VM's off, then it's just a detached volume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can't detach it.
Yeah.
You can't.
No, that's right. So how do you do it?
You can't detach a boot from volume?
Yeah. You gotta delete the VM.
Yeah.
That was the issue.
It's my first
Even if you shut it down?
Oh, actually, you can do it. You just can't undo it.
If you go outside of Nova and you actually go and physically go to the compute window,
Well, what if you use Nova's API to shut the VM down?
you can't detach it.
It's still attached to that host?
But you can delete the instance
Yeah.
and
And
then
then
move
create
the
a new
volume.
one from that volume. So
Yeah. Which, I mean, in your case, is that okay? Since you're migrating to a whole new storage system.
We are not running boot from volume at this point.
Okay.
When we started off, we had that enabled and promoted that, but it turned out that like snapshotting and stuff were a lot of problem, especially with the drivers we had at the time. I'm not sure about how it is nowadays, but I guess assume that it works. It's a lot of that seems to be standard nowadays.
Okay.
But I guess snapshotting works well. Cool, so this group.
Good.
we have revert to snapshot, but that also doesn't work with boot volumes because you have the same issue. Well, sorry, what? We have revert to snapshot, so if you take a snapshot on a volume, you can actually, before, if you wanted to go back to that snapshot state, you'd have to create a new volume from that snapshot, get rid of the old volume, and then use the new one.
Okay.
But now we, a couple, 2 or 3 releases ago, I think, we have revert to snapshot, so you don't have to delete the original volume, you can just revert it to that snapshot state.
Okay.
But it's another, again, where it doesn't work with volumes because you need to actually detach it. Otherwise, it's very risky, very likely that you can get data corruption.
Data corruption, bad. I've got data hooligans on my system. Okay. Well, give people 10 minutes of their time back. I'm glad Cinder works well.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming, for those of you that can make it, giving feedback, I appreciate it. And you know where to find us online if you need to. Where are you going next? Mine's not until 4:20, is it? When's the leadership meeting with Ashley?
Oh, yeah, right.
Community leadership session was various.
Okay, so yeah, I'm at 4:20. There's a discussion on O architecture for 1,000 node scale next. There's an ironic project onboarding. So maybe, so that was earlier. Anyway, Ashley was having a call for like leadership team to come and talk about improving communication and stuff within the community. And
Shitty communication.
Does the
Oh.
guarantee that that VM is
It was back at 140, so it was opposite the capabilities report.
So yeah, so just the lines common in that stuff. Go look at the plan stuff.
which could have all different kinds
But it's
of
network
network
set
settings.
architecture, distribution, version.
So that's why they.
I haven't tried to pronounce
So
it.
it's full start, it's
I really thought that
keeping it otherwise.
So essentially some way.
That's one of the options. There are so many drivers.
To make it like standard thing.
Yeah. I did talk to one interrupt and they're sort of, they seem more interested in doing the validation and stuff.